What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Yes, it is that time of year again. We are taking a look at my top 20 best knives under $50 for the entire year of 2024. I'm excited about this one. In the interest of brevity, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on each knife. I will have them linked down in the description in chronological order, so they will be easy to find. We're going to kick it off with the Sencut Cybrix here at number 20, and keep in mind, I don't get to handle every single knife that comes out throughout the year. This is just consisting of the knives that I've handled throughout the year, that I still have, and that I think deserve to be in this spot. I'm sure there are some knives out there that I will miss, forget, or I just simply don't have, so that is something to keep in mind. Now, number 20, the Sencut Cybrix. I remember getting this thing out of the box and being very happy to find out it is a close to a full-size knife. 2024 was definitely the year of the smaller knife, but the Cybrix here from Sencut, which is the sister company to Civivi and this is the budget line. They do a great job over there. We have a nice satin finished 9CR 18 MOV blade here, satin drop point blade, and then we have dual thumb studs and a rear flipper for deployment. Nice aluminum handles. We got a nice heavy chamfer here around the edges. That is going to make this very comfortable in hand. We have a deep carry clip, and it is going to be surface mounted, and it will be left hand friendly. Sencut, Civivi, they do an awesome job on their button locks, and this is a great knife coming in under 50 bucks. Now you guys are already getting spoiled, getting a 2-for-1. This is the real steel, and this is the Iris brothers here. We have a front and rear flipper option with a bunch of different G10 colors. We have a black one and green G10 here. It's more of a spear point style drop point blade, and these are going to be coming in 12C27, and they're going to be under 40 bucks. Nice, affordable gentleman slicers right here. We have a deep carry wire pocket clip that'll be reversible on both models, and Real Steel does a great job on their knives. They are producing cutting tools over there, not just flashy pocket jewelry. We have a nice taco integral steel frame, going to make this a pretty rigid, smaller gent knife. We do have a liner lock for our locking mechanism. Very solid detents on both of these. I don't know which one I would go with if you forced me. Probably the front flipper, just because it's so satisfying. But I couldn't put one and not the other because they're both well executed. Lefty and righty carry. Great execution on the action and a good choice in steel, along with a very thin blade stock. These come down nice and thin. Great slicers, especially under $40. Some of you will love this, some of you won't, but I love this knife and I can't get enough of it. This is the Valhalla Lord. Typically comes in around 50 bucks, but I've seen them as low as like 36 bucks. So that is an outstanding price. We have a D2 blade with a satin finish, more of a clip point style blade, but it has a nice low tip in comparison to the pivot. It's a massive knife. And as I said, getting this knife in, and I didn't know what the specs were at the time of receiving this knife. So to get this out of the box and be surprised with this monster here, it is a steel frame lock. We have a chamfer and good access to that lock bar. Very solid detent on those thumb studs, and they are nice oversized thumb studs. This reminds me of the Proponent, just in a clip point. We have a milled clip here. We have a steel backspacer with an integrated lanyard hole. And I just love larger knives. Are they always ideal? No, but I just love them. and that's the way that it goes. The Valhalla Lord, if you like a full-size beast and you're looking for something pretty cheap, the Valhalla Lord will be a good option for you. Okay, getting back on track here, we have the CJRB Bowie Pyrite. We have a rose gold AR RPM 9 Bowie style blade, dual thumb studs for deployment. They made these in a ton of different variations, but this one is the steel version, and they have really done a good job on how they finish their steel now. It is milled out to the point where it's a hard time, most people would have a hard time deciding on if this was titanium or steel or what it was. So they're doing a great job these days finishing steel. We have a deep carry clip here, and it will be reversible. We have rose gold for our hardware and button as well. Just a flashy looking knife. If you were going to beat the hell out of this, I don't think that coating would hold up, but just under daily use, basic use, I think that coating would be fine for a while. I don't know how long that would hold up. I haven't had a chance to really look into that with how long it'll last, but they did a good job on this. It comes down nice and thin. It's really pokey. They do a good job with that RPM 9. It shows in the testing, with the right geometry, it does a pretty solid job, especially at the given price point, under $50 for these. And that's what they're coming in at now. So keep that in mind as well. The prices can and do fluctuate. They can go down, they can go up. Keep that in mind. One of my standout companies of the year is going to be Fintizo. They definitely have a bright future ahead of them, and this is the Fintizo Harp. We have a satin finished drop point blade with a swedge rolling to the tip, coming in 14C. They have a lot of potential there at Fintizo, and I really like what they're doing. Typically, with a new company, this is what I ask them to go to. They typically don't start here with 14C and aluminum handles. They started out where I want them to, pretty much, with a new company. And they've actually put out a premium model since they've put out a lot of more affordable models, and they did a solid job with that. So a company that has a lot of potential, the Fintizo Harp here is a solid value. 14C aluminum, and then you have steel liners backing that aluminum up. It is chamfered nicely all the way around, so it makes this very comfortable, and that little bit of added thickness also adds in the comfort. Decent sharpening choil there, and you'll see them being a new company, they don't have a left-hand option there for that deep carry clip, but I think in time they will get that right, and Fintizo is going to be a hot item in 2025. So we move to number 15, and this is one I didn't hear get talked about a whole lot, but it's the Kaiser Riverbank, and I really like this thing. We have a nice thin blade stock on this satin drop point blade. It's going to be coming in Nitro V, and that is a great steal at this price point, under $50. We have a nice stone wash finish, which is a great user finish. We have this layered butterscotch micarta is what I've always called it. And then we have Kaiser's great pocket clip deep carry, surface mounted, and it is going to be reversible. Couple of standoffs, and we do have steel liners with internal milling there. Good access to the liner, and we have Kaiser action. Solid detent and buttery smooth close. If you're looking for just a mid-size cutter that's going to be slicey and comfortable, this is a great option if you like flippers. I have enjoyed this knife. I think those came out in October maybe, and that one really stood out to me, especially under 50 bucks. So with this next one, you can kind of get mad, but you can't kind of. So there's 4 versions. 2 of them come in under 50. 2 of them come in a little over 50, like 57 or 8 bucks. So I wanted to slip this one in there. It deserves to be in there. The only difference is one's micarta, the other is G10. And I'm talking about the new Tenable Prometheus 14C28N steel. Just imagine this was G10. Okay. Or there's coupon codes down in the description that'll take it down even closer to 50 bucks. But for right around 50 bucks, 14C with a nasty Warncliffe style blade. We have a tumbled stonewash finish, and this just a mean looking blade. Nice sharpening choil. This is going to be a rear flipper only. We do have micarta and G10 options with steel liners, and to top it all off, we have a milled titanium clip, which is excellent. Under 50, under 60 bucks. That is an excellent move by Tenable, and for all the reasons, I love thin knives. I love thick knives as well because I can beat the hell out of this. This has a little bit thicker blade stock, but it still comes down fairly thin, and we'll be able to take pretty good abuse in that 14C 28N steel. So I'm a little biased on this one. I like Mr. Brown, and we have the Civivi X1 here. Love this knife. Nitro V steel. We have that beautiful modified sheep's foot blade. This has a fuller and rear flipper for deployment. We have Civivi's very solid action and their nice geometry. This thing comes down nice and thin. Going to be a Nitro V, so we have yet again a good steel. Good access with some jimping. I wish they would have done more models with this thing because I think it has a lot of potential. I wish it was a little bit larger as well. I think a X1 XL in varying materials would be an absolute home run. We do have G10, a deep carry clip that is going to be reversible. The clip I wish was a little shorter as well, but coming in around 50 bucks. I was really high on this knife. It's got a black washed finish on this one, but they do have other versions. I was high on it, and I love the knife, but it could have been even better off the start. But I get them putting feelers out as well, you know, to see how we react. But I think it's definitely in store for an XL and new materials. Next up, we have the AM8 Gladiator. This is Migaron's sister company, and we have a beautiful, beautiful knife right here. Going to be coming with a satin finished drop point style blade here. We have a flat with a swedge rolling to the tip, 14C 28N steel. We have dual thumb studs and a rear flipper on this particular version. Some people love the rear flipper. Some people wish they would have went with a front flipper on the budget version. I agree. I wish they would do both because I enjoy both, but the Gladiator has been done in both forms in its premium form, and the front flipper was very fun with that large blade. We have micarta for the handle material, steel liners, a nice deep carry clip, nice and minimal, and it is going to be recessed there behind the scales, and I believe it is also reversible as well. We have good access with a chamfer, or no, it's not reversible actually. I don't think it is. No, it's not because that's recessed into the scales. Yeah, this one is not going to be left-hand friendly. Under 50 bucks though, and also another knife that's going to be in that full-size spectrum. Next up, we have the Hytron Hot Knives Sharp Lin. The Hytron Sharp Lin here, they are a new company. This is going to be coming in 14C 28N steel. We have this nice PVD coated drop point style blade with this very pronounced belly. We have a cutout and we have thumb studs there for the deployment. They absolutely nailed the crossbar lock action on this thing. Very nice sharpening choil as well. Pretty good sharpening life. This thing is nice and thin. Look at that blade stock. Very thin, very slicey. We have G10 for our handle material here. I like this design. It's different and it's really well executed. It's not going to be left-hand friendly. As a new company, they did miss on that, like Fintizo, but I think they will get that very soon. They probably understand that, but you know, it's got to be implemented into the newer knives, as this is one of their first designs. I think they will eventually integrate that into upcoming models. Next up, we have the most recent budget knife from Fintizo, and very, very impressive. They have grown a ton in a short amount of time. Checking out their very first design to their last design so far this year, the Fintizo Parrot here. Great execution on this thing. We have a sheep's foot blade with a satin finish, 14C28N. There's a couple knocks, but they're very, one of them isn't too nitpicky. Sharpening choil could have been better, and I look for that to get better once they start to understand that. A lot of companies still have trouble with that, and I think will continue to have trouble with it. Fairly healthy blade stock, but it cuts very, very well. You have a nice pokey tip there for more precise utility cuts. The button lock and thumb stud action is very, very good. And then we have these nicely finished aluminum handles here with a chamfer all the way around. And then we have a deep carry clip that is going to be reversible, and it is recessed. We also have steel liners there, which is going to make this a good feeling knife in hand. And for under $50, very, very hard to beat. As I said earlier, I look for Fintizo to have a big year in 2025. I really struggled to place this one on the list. I knew I wanted it on there, but I wasn't sure where to place it. But I'm talking about the D2 version in particular. This is the Nitro V version. They will be the same as far as the design and all that, just different steels. But Kaiser is going to do a good job on their D2. But this thing is thin, it's slicey, and I think they come in at like $45 for the D2 version. Nice drop point blade, beautiful swedge rolling to that tip. You have the Superman cutout, as I call it, and a front flipper with a very, very good detent. And then this one is the G10 and clear acrylic. I love this combination with the Nitro V satin blade. And then we have Kaiser's deep carry clip there. And this is only going to be right hand carry only, as it is a Militol. And the Militol series has not done left hand friendly clips as of yet. But this knife is very solid. Mini Militol, full-size Militol, either which way. They have very affordable ones all the way up to as premium as you can get. Next up, we have another slicey bugger with the Olatin's GO53. We checked out a couple of models from them this year, and they have been very impressive. This thing is ultra thin, ultra slicey, and we're looking at 14C28N with a satin finish. There are a dozen different colorways you can get on this knife, and they all come in right around $48. We have G10 here, ivory or white. The crossbar lock action is phenomenal. I can't tell you how good that crossbar lock action is. Nice sharpening choil there. We have a minimal deep carry sleek pocket clip. Not going to be left hand friendly. Here again, we have a newer company and something they need to implement. I could do without the Olatins, but that is a very, very small nitpick. They keep the show side of the blade clean. They have their emblem there on the pivot. This is an extremely solid knife for $48 if you're looking for a mid-size cutter. In an ocean where things start to all blend together and look similar, I love what Revo did here with the Ness. We have a Nessmuck 14C 28N Nessmuck blackwash style blade. We have a flipper tab for deployment here. The sharpening choil is okay. Could be better, but not horrible. And you can, because there's so much blade there, use that to throw this thing out on occasion if, the conditions are right. We have micarta for our handle material choice, and then a nice lanyard spot for lanyard fans, and then a deep carry clip that will be reversible. Just an extremely fun knife. It's different, and I appreciate that. We don't see a ton of knives, folding knives, with a Nessmuck or Schillen style blade. I love those blade shapes, and the Nessmuck is just a really cool blade shape in itself, fixed blade or folder. But I love Revo stepped out of the box with this one, and they kept the price nice and low. So this goofed me up a little bit. The QSP Canary is going to range from the liner lock 43 to 45, up to the Canary Glide Lock, which you can see between 50 to 55, depending where and when you get it. But I'm putting it on the list because it is a phenomenal knife, around 50 bucks from QSP. We have 14C 28N. We have their PVD coating with a drop point blade. It is nice and thin, nice and slicey. We also have very strong springs. My puppy thought he saw an intruder, but it was just the neighbor. We have G10 handles here. Yes, there are speed holes, but in this case, it really don't bother me. It's a very, very lightweight knife. It is more on that mid-size, smaller end, but even wearing an XL glove, I can still get a full purchase on this thing and be very comfortable as well. We have a nice deep carry clip there, and it will be reversible, and they include a filler tab in their how do we want to say it, professional career, and they are, very experienced. We have that reversible clip with the filler tab, and that just shows you the difference between new companies and experienced companies that should be doing the right things. You have QSP doing all the right things, especially with the Canary. Next up, we have number 5, and you might be throwing your hands up in the air and wondering what the hell's going on. Well, you shall see here soon enough. We do have number 5, the CJRB Pyrite Light, and this will be some people's budget knife of the year, but not mine. Popularity wise, yeah, it probably does take it in that sense, but we will get to number 1 here in a few moments. RPM 9, as CJRB does, very thin. They have a ton of different models. As you can see, we have Altum here and Ivory over there. These are both coated. They also have Damascus versions. They have S90V versions, all with the textured FRN. And we have CJRB's fantastic button plunge lock that they do very, very well. This is a good size, and these have been extremely popular since they released. We do have a deep carry clip, and it will be reversible. Button lock action across the board. I've handled 6 of these, I think, in different fashions, and they are just very, very well executed. Very solid knife. You have a large choil there, so you can choke up and have a ton of control over that blade. The CJRB Pyrite Light coming in at number 5. Next up, we have the Civivi Nugs. I love this thing. I love the name. I love the knife. We have a satin finished sheep's foot blade, modified sheep's foot blade. We have a cutout and rear flipper for deployment. The cutout is placed well and the flipper is nice and minimal, but they put some good fine jimping on this thing. We have micarta here, and I remember thinking, I bought this knife, and I remember thinking when I opened it, oh man, they put a titanium clip on there, and I thought, you know, the wave had started, but no, that is just a steel milled clip, but it is nice, and it does work very, very well in the hand. We have a micarta backspacer that is going to be right hand carry only, and then we have that very, very good Civivi action, good access to the liner with some jimping, and it is going to be coming in 14C 28N steel. Next up, we have the Petrified Fish Tunny. And these last three were ultimately very hard because we're trying to not only choose the best knife under 50, but I'm also trying to keep in mind the value as well, what you're getting for that price tag, right? So it was very hard. This could have easily been number 2 for me, especially the size of this thing. The Tunny's coming in 14C. Petrified Fish does a great job with their 14C. We have a satin finish drop point blade with a fuller there, and you can use that. It is sharp enough in a good way that you can use that for thumb and reverse flicks, but the main deployment is that nice rear flipper tab. Good solid action out of this thing. Good access to the liner there. Beautiful micarta. I've been calling it a butterscotch on this one as well, like a lighter butterscotch. Really like this. I'd love to see more of this color. G10 backspacer. We have steel liners. This is going to be a full-size knife that fills out the hand well. It's going to cut pretty good for its size too. And then you can still use that nice pokey tip as well. Lanyard hole for the lanyard fans, going to be right hand carry only. So this could have been number 1 easily. The Miguron Galati here. 14C 28N. We have a drop point, almost spear point like blade with a satin finish. They have several different variations of this. But this one is definitely the one I would go with. We have a cutout and a rear flipper for deployment, a large choil there, and that's just going to give you a ton of control over this blade if you need. Good access to the liner there, easy to disengage, strong detent, and buttery smooth closing action. The micarta is very, very nice stuff. We have a G10 backspacer and steel liners, and this knife comes in under $50, and we have a redesigned milled titanium clip for Miguron, and that is just absolutely incredible for under 50 bucks to get this type of knife right here. Who would have ever thought we could get something like this for under 50 bucks? Great job by Miguron, and definitely could be knife of the year. But because of the price of this thing right here, I have to give the nod to the CJRB Acacia. This thing is coming in at $30, $29.99, and that is impressive. RPM 9 from CJRB. There's a bunch of versions of this one as well. We have their tumbled, kind of washed finish on this one. They have coated. We have a large cutout here, and the Pyrite had the thumb studs. I prefer the cutout. I also prefer the crossbar lock because it's a more dependable lock. It's just better in my opinion. I don't know why these didn't get quite the push that the Pyrite lights did, but this is a better knife in my opinion. Just a better all-around knife. The FRN is finished very nicely. It has texturing on it. You have a deep carry clip that'll be reversible. Their crossbar lock action is very, very good. And for 30 bucks to get this type of EDC knife, that is very impressive. And that'll be my budget knife of the year, under 50 bucks. Definitely could put a few knives in its place, but at $30, it is really, really hard to beat that, even with the GBALLTPK, where that one is closer to 50. You know, that's $20 more. 30 bucks for the Acacia. You guys will have to let me know. What do you think? What was your knife of the year? This is all in good fun, and this is all just my opinion. Remember that, and this is all based on what I handled throughout the year and still currently have. Love you guys. If you stuck through the entire video, love you. Appreciate you. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I release daily videos. I'd love to have you here. I'll put a couple of new videos up on your screen. Go check out one of those. Have yourself an awesome day. Keep your eyes peeled for more top of the year videos coming. I got a ton of them. Love you. Catch you on the next one.